Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering woke colleges panic as diversity, equity, and inclusion gets destroyed. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Colleges are pretty worried right now. They do not know which way to turn. It's not just colleges. Also, apparently, black academics are very upset. Claudine Gay resignation sparks outrage among black academics. Includes Ibrahim X. Kendi, a couple of others really upset that, yes, you know what? You're going to be judged if you're going to put yourself out there. It used to be you could be the president of Harvard or in some other bureaucratic organization and get away with doing whatever you wanted and saying whatever you wanted to say, and you would be untouchable. Not anymore. Thanks to this guy, Bill Ackman, Chris Rufo, Congress, and the rest of the country responding in a really appropriate way to hold people accountable. From WGBH.org, the fallout for college presidents and a warning from Claudine Gay. Higher education experts fear the public battle over Claudine Gay and her resignation as Harvard University president could deter candidates from seeking top posts at colleges and universities which already lack racial and gender diversity. Well, they lack gender diversity or racial diversity. Basically, don't you just really want people in charge of important institutions that haven't plagiarized their work and know what the heck they're doing? And it's not just in colleges. From Axios, companies are backing away from DEI, and the fallout just keeps on going. From News One, conservatives attack diversity programs after Claudine Gay resignation. Vivek Ramaswamy has a great comment here. Claudine Gay's rise to Harvard president was no doubt in part the result of affirmative action. But the more interesting dimension is how it reflects the rise of bureaucrats over intellectuals at top universities. Over 2 decades, Gay published just 10 articles and 0 books. And we know how many of those articles had problems with plagiarism. Harvard professor Roland Fryer published more in a single year than Gay did in her entire career, yet she tried to torch him for his non-academic failures. Ramaswamy says, heck, I'm not even an academic, but in the last 2 years wrote 3 books and published more articles than Gay did in 2 decades. It wasn't just the rise of intersectionality that propelled Gay to the top of Harvard. It's a deeper cultural shift in our country that favors bureaucrats over creators and administrators over intellectuals that has infected nearly every major institution in American life. We miss the deeper point if we focus only on the race, gender, DEI dimension, which is as much a symptom as it is an underlying cause of the problem. And when you get down to it, the diversity, equity, and inclusion argument is literally this ridiculous. I found this and I've been saving this link for a while now. It's the perfect place for it. From Eureka Alert, diversity has potential benefits that can be realized only through equity and inclusion. What does that even mean? It doesn't mean anything. Here's what they go on to explain. Why should any organization prioritize diversity over merit? New book, Why Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Matter, Challenges and Solutions expounds on the idea that a set of diverse people provide a greater diversity of ideas that can help solve complex problems facing organizations in a competitive environment. Which is to say, if you have people with diverse skin colors, but of course they're talking about excluding white people, that is what diversity, equity, and inclusion, this movement is all about, that somehow those ideas are going to magically turn into a solution. If you're in business, you know that ideas do not turn into solutions. Even if you had 1,000,000 ideas, ideas are worthless. Being able to implement an idea, that's valuable. And that takes experience, it takes focus, and above all, it takes merit. Chris Rufo is coming after more plagiarizers. I love this announcement from him, and it's gotten very little coverage. Chris Rufo, who is one of the guys, if not the main guy, who took down Claudine Gay, announcement, I am contributing an initial $10,000 to a plagiarism hunting fund. We will expose the rot in the Ivy League and restore truth, rather than racist ideology as the highest principle in academic life. So whoever is a college professor, whoever holds an important position at a college, if you have published works like Claudine Gay, like everyone in those positions, and it has plagiarism in it, Chris Rufo and probably hundreds, if not thousands of people are coming after you for your plagiarism. Expect to see a lot more resignations over the next coming months. Over in Texas colleges, from the Caryville Daily Times, diversity offices on college campuses illegal in Texas as 30 new laws go into effect. As of January 1st, you cannot have diversity, equity, and inclusion offices in Texas. Yes, there will be some Texas colleges that try to change things around a little bit. It's not that. It's not that, yes, they won't cheat here and they won't cheat there. Companies are going to also be scaling back. As you see from the Axios articles, companies are backing away from DEI. It doesn't mean they're not going to still have some of these discriminatory practices and programs. It means they've lost all the momentum, which is to say they're not going to be able to get away with pushing it and doing it openly. Sure, they can be dishonest and sneak around in the background, but they will not be able to do it openly. The momentum is broken, and they're going to have to scale back. And after a few lawsuits come through, which there are lawsuits pending in 2024, and companies start to get in more and more trouble and lose some serious money, it will get even further scaled back. The way Bill Ackman was able to have such a big presence and have success taking down the president of Harvard is because he did use a tactic. This is a good article from CNN Business that he used in his finance and hedge fund career. From CNN Business, Bill Ackman took a Wall Street tactic to an Ivy League fight in his attempt to oust Harvard's president, which of course he was successful. The tactic was he's very aggressive publicly. He makes strong statements. He gathers information. I've seen him try to do this. He actually did it unsuccessfully against Carl Icahn when they were both fighting over a company called Herbalife. However, he has been successful before, and he is a billionaire. He's worth $4 billion. He continues on in business, and he's since now understood that he should have been using these skills earlier on. At least we have him now. Ackman was not involved in all of this until the Hamas October 7th terrorist attacks in Israel. After Ackman and some other important CEOs saw that the response from the colleges was terrible for their students, they weren't protecting their Jewish students, Ackman and other executives started to organize, push back, get very public with their statements, and create this campaign to get rid of Claudine Gay as Harvard president. Now Ackman has caught on and realizes, hey, wait a minute, it's not just this issue with Jewish students being protected while they're on campus at Harvard. He did go to Harvard. It is a college he graduated from, but it's not just about the students. He's now realized, hey, this diversity, equity, and inclusion thing is terrible. And in a 4,000-word essay, he talks about where he stands on the subject and what we need to do to get diversity, equity, and inclusion out of our colleges and out of our businesses. So that's his new project. He's going after them there. But colleges now, as you can imagine, are really concerned because they know basically they've been caught. Their plagiarism is going to get exposed. They're not going to be able to appoint people for political and ideological reasons into positions they don't qualify for. Because all of those people have this published history. They all have public work that can be exposed. And you've got this absolute killer out there, Christopher Rufo, who's dedicated to finding these people. And every time Chris Rufo has a success, and this isn't his first success, but every time he has a success, he becomes a bigger personality and he gets access to more resources. This realignment of the colleges is going to be very big in 2024. Adam Falk, president of the Alfred Sloan Foundation and former president of Williams College, told GBH News people will think twice before running the risk of getting publicly savaged by critics and forced to address profoundly divisive and politicized issues sweeping college campuses. Quote, college presidents are in an absolutely impossible position at the moment, trying to satisfy constituencies, whether it's faculty or students or alumni or donors, each of whom think they have a primary call on the institution and want incompatible things, Falk said. Of course, what he's saying here is they can't get away with just pushing one side of politics and jamming it into colleges and erasing merit. It's not going to work anymore. In an op-ed titled, "What Happened at Harvard is Bigger Than Me," her first comment since resignation, Gay issued a warning too. She wrote that the campaign against her, quote, was merely a single skirmish in a broader war to unravel public faith in pillars of American society. Yes, pillars of American society that were taken over by ideologues that are trying to push it for a political agenda and don't care who they hurt in the process. They don't even care what they do to society as long as they have power. Well, they're all in very big trouble right now. If the president of Harvard University, the most preeminent university we have in the United States, the oldest college in existence, then none of these college presidents are safe. Any of them could be taken down if they have the same kind of situation as Claudine Gay, if they are essentially frauds. Vacancies among college leaders were already expected to rise, according to a 2023 report by the American Council on Education, which found more than half of college presidents said they plan to step down within the next 5 years. Yale University is also searching for a new president. Gay's resignation, a national spectacle, could exacerbate the problem. It also raises concerns about the widening racial gap between increasingly diverse students who attend U.S. colleges and the predominantly white men who run them. Well, who cares what these people look like? Everyone should be held to the same standard, regardless of their gender or skin color. That's not how this stupid book would have it, where merit is not supposed to be important, but it is, and it looks like that's where things are headed back to. Some in higher education see Gay's departure as just the beginning, as politically conservative groups grow emboldened to attack woke campuses and their diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. John D. Saylor, a senior fellow at the National Association of Scholars, a conservative group, told the New York Times he thinks there are major problems with higher education, and Harvard is a representation of that. Quote, "To the extent those problems have been exposed," Saylor said, "I think that puts a lot of wind in the sails of reform." Falk said that Gay's experience at Harvard exemplified the bind college presidents increasingly face. Falk himself came under fire during his tenure at Williams when he canceled a speech by a white supremacist and was subsequently criticized during a U.S. Senate committee. Quote, "The demands that are put on institutions like Harvard in this moment are incoherent and self-contradictory. To both be a place that people feel safe and a place that anyone can say anything." Susan Greenberg, senior editor at Inside Higher Ed, said she also worried about whether anyone would want to take a top university job in the current environment. "I'm sure a lot of people would want to. Just check their work, make sure it hasn't been plagiarized, and give them the job." Quote, "It gives me a sense of foreboding for the future of higher ed," she said. "Already presidential tenures have gotten shorter over the years. It's a difficult job, and it's only getting harder by the hour. You will not be able to abuse power in this role anymore. As soon as you do, thousands of people will be on top of you, checking your prior history and your prior works for plagiarism, as well as criticizing you in the public. Congress is still investigating Claudine Gay and the two other presidents that didn't respond appropriately to all the controversy around the Hamas October 7th attacks. The tenures of college presidents have steadily shortened, according to the American Council on Education's report. It's down from 8.5 years in 2006 to less than 6 in its most recent survey. Of course, Claudine Gay was the shortest duration president that Harvard had ever had. They should have checked her qualifications more carefully first. And no, diversity is not a legitimate qualification. Quote, "It's harder to attract really good people to do the jobs if they feel their positions are as tenuous as I think many leaders feel today," Falk said. "Harvard and other institutions will have to, quote, appoint somebody who is prepared to withstand a lot of heat coming from every direction. And I think that's true of all the institutions that are looking to appoint new presidents today." In her op-ed, Gay revealed she had been targeted by a barrage of hateful emails, including death threats. Gay's resignation comes after University of Pennsylvania President Liz McGill resigned last month in the wake of the congressional hearing where both were criticized for not forcefully denouncing anti-Semitism. Their departures followed the Supreme Court decision in June that struck down the race-conscious decisions in college admissions. No more affirmative action in college application decisions thanks to Edward Blum winning in the Supreme Court. Greenberg said the wariness on college campuses due to political conflict will only deepen, and that will affect not only the administration, but students. Quote, "I do think it's going to make everybody look much more closely at how they hire and who they hire, as well as students they admit and how they admit them," she said. "It's not like Bill Ackman and Chris Rufo and Congress took down the president of the local community college. There's nothing wrong with community college. But it's not Harvard. It's not an Ivy League institution. That is like taking someone down from government. It is a very big deal. And as you can see from this last article, people are really concerned about it because they realize you can't go in there and just get away with murder anymore. You can't do whatever you want. You can't discriminate against people. You're going to be held accountable. It also means it's not really going to be a lot of fun, and it can be very embarrassing if you're caught plagiarizing, or acting inappropriately, or both like Claudine Gay was. And now with companies backing down as well on diversity, equity, and inclusion, we're definitely going in the right direction. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.